These guys are not experts.
And I'm not sure they're even that smart.
They do like video games.
And I guess you could say they're funny.
Sometimes.
Well, they do like to talk.
And they do have opinions.
It's time for Video Game Replays!
Welcome in. It's Kirby time. It's a great day to be here. This is CJ coming with me here to my right or left, maybe.
Nope. I don't know. It's different for everyone. Again, I don't know if it's right or left. You just
Fair
pointed
enough.
out of the screen. Do you want to restart or like what's going on?
Nah, keep it rolling.
We should definitely restart.
This is CJ. Here we are with Kirby coming back at you live. We got Larry, one of the co-hosts here.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? With me, I got Aidan.
Dilf in the building.
Boom, boom.
Good to get back to a good game here this week. We got to play Kirby's Adventure, got the dumb, stupid stuff out the way, and got to have some good fun. Before we get into it, or before anybody comments, we're going to silence your comments there, guys. Before we get really too far into it, guys done anything interesting this week? Aidan, what you kind of been into?
Well, not really shit at all, but I did get a water flosser, so I'm using that. Other than that, I've been playing BO6 a little bit, getting my grind on. Other than that, we have BO6, water flosser. I had some KFC a couple days ago.
Wow.
I hit a deer last episode, but I'm over it. Other than that, nothing else.
Sounds interesting enough. I mean, it's enough.
Very eventful.
Larry, you got anything to top off that exciting week?
I don't know. I don't know if I can overcome that. I mean, hell, I don't know. I went to see the doctor earlier this week. I had some numbness from the shoulders up, and it moved over to the front side. Being a big guy, that kind of shit scares you when you're my age. So, nothing too crazy. But hey, I got a prescription for muscle relaxers now, and I use them.
Life is good.
Being forklift certified, I know not to use them when I need to, but
yeah,
in the evening times, yeah, I'm not abusing them. I'm definitely using them, and haven't had too many problems with that. Other than that, still just living in that dishwasher hell that I have not talked about in a while, but don't have a dishwasher. Still washing by hands. Dishwasher.
Your new one?
Oh, I didn't tell you that. Okay, Reader's Digest version for everyone who's in this. Dishwasher broke. I got parts. Didn't work. Fuck it. I bought a brand new one. Didn't work out of the fucking box. Had a guy show up 2 days later, said, "Hey, I gotta get you a part. We'll have it in 2 weeks." As we are recording, we are now at 4 weeks and 1 day, and they stopped answering my fucking phone calls.
Yeah.
Did you already pay?
What, the repair guy? That's part of the warranty, dude. I don't know if he has or not. They don't tell me, but I mean, it's like I said, it's a brand new one, dude, so it's under warranty. But the messed up thing is most box stores at this point have a 48-hour return policy on all their fucking appliances. So, needless to say, they know that they are selling shit because you have 48 hours from the time you pick it up to bring it back.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
That's fucked up. But I did all the proper stuff. I got everything in line. I had to talk to 6 different people at this big box store, and they took it back. So I now have a big giant hole in my thing, and I'm trying to find a good dishwasher that I can place in it. But I'm waiting till the weekend comes so I can actually get it in the AM, put it in, make sure it works. That way, because if it doesn't, I will take it back by the PM.
Yeah, within them 48 hours.
Yeah, well, it'll be back within 12 hours, and me cussing carrying on. But I mean, it's a terrible thing that we're getting such cheap shit anymore that they know the shit's no good, and the appliance makers know it's no good, and apparently aren't going out of the way to do anything about it. But outside of that,
yeah,
not a whole lot really. Just playing video games and working and making that money.
No KFC?
No KFC this week, bro. Might actually happen tomorrow though. I got things to do, so I got places to be. So
Listen.
KFC might be the answer.
I'll tell you a deal, and it's a little pricey, but you'll get everything, and you'll be full as hell. It's on the app, but it's $20, but you get a 6-piece with, I think it's a breast, 2 drumsticks, 2 and 2 thighs, and a little wing. You get 4 biscuits and 4 sides. So you get 6 pieces of chicken, 4 biscuits, 4 sides for $20. I'm like, how can you go wrong with that? I get a full belly. I get a little thigh I can eat in the middle of the night because I usually eat 5 pieces. So life is good.
Well, I'm definitely a breast guy, but I can appreciate a good thigh.
I agree. I'm a breast guy. You get more meat.
Absolutely.
Does Eric Cartman know about this deal, or is this something we're just gatekeeping from him?
Listen, I'm just saying, I didn't get this knowledge from the internet. I had my Cartman hookup. He contacted me. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, sounds about right.
How you living, C, man? What's going on in your world?
Let me think. I mean, honestly, a lot of Black Ops 6 time. Call of Duty has been years since it's had my life under control, but here it is again. Having fun with it. Might not be the best. Having fun at least with it, and definitely put in a good bit of time over the weekend. Let me think. I went to a college basketball game for pretty cheap for them being a D1 school. I think it was like $8. Now, I mean, it was pretty cool with some people we knew, and a good game. It looks like the team's gonna be cool this year, so that's cool because it's so close and so cheap. So that's nice. Other than that, I think probably the most exciting thing in my week was I might have thrown up in a B-dubs yesterday from drinking just a little bit. It was the bartender's fault. They ran out of my go-to, my Crown Apple. So I had 2 Crown Apple doubles, and then I was like, I'll try a blue Long Island iced tea. Well, one of them had a lot of syrup, and it kind of was like pure Jolly Rancher almost.
Ooh.
And they're like, if you like it, you can have it. If you don't, I won't. Like, I'll make you a new one. It's no big deal. So I was like, well, I mean, there's still like I can't give up like 2.5 shots of liquor. So I start drinking it, and I drank like half of it. I'm like, oh man, I just can't do this. I had like one more. I'm gonna leave, and I'm about to walk out the door, and I'm like, let me just go to the bathroom real quick. Man, I felt so much better, but it made me nauseous. It was tastes like you melted like a whole bag of blue Jolly Ranchers and just mixed it with like cut it with water. That's what it tasted like. So maybe like cut it with Sprite, Kool-Aid. It was very sweet, but I'm alive and well today. And, just counting down the days to make this Thanksgiving trip.
I have a little update that I didn't really mention. Speaking of basketball, my Cavs, by the time of this recording, are 10-0. 10-0. Franchise record, way better than the Knicks are doing right now. What's their record? See, I was just curious. I don't actually know the top of my head. You can tell me.
Wait, who was it?
Just the New York Knickerbockers.
Who was asking about the basketball record?
Well, actually, if you don't know, they're 3-4.
Doing all right.
Clap, Larry. You can clap. I mean, that's an okay score for an okay team. Everything's all good. And by the time this episode releases, the Cavs will probably be 13-0. Let's just be honest here.
The lights are too bright for them. The lights are too bright for them. They can't compete.
Hey, Jared Allen is having a great time this year. Let's just say that. Cavs are doing good.
Stop using your hands. Put away your hands. Put away your verbiage. Put it away. Talk about it later. Yeah, so to move past the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life that made me really sad and upset. We're definitely we'll skip right over it, but it was election week, so everybody in the world's rowdy, and just come watch us play some video games. Let's just take a step back from it. Who cares?
Just a step back.
If you want to see something about one person winning and one person losing, and you want to be mad about somebody losing, support me this week and watch how bad I lost, and please condole me and send all your thoughts and prayers my way, because God, Contra
so you're well, I was gonna say,
yeah,
you're not any better at modern video games than you were at Contra, huh?
Maybe like if I was like a 2 at Contra, maybe like a 4.5, maybe a 5 on a good day. Every once in a while I have that 6 out of 10 game.
You gotta play Sims, man. That way you don't have to worry about getting your ass handed to you. You just gotta worry about surviving it and not going broke.
Yeah, about that, guys. I filed for bankruptcy. No, I'm kidding. Speaking of money, though, I am looking at possibly getting a new vehicle here soon. So we'll see. Might have to get rid of the Jaguar that I so deeply have a love-hate relationship for. But might be getting out of it. Might be getting into something newer. Maybe
A
a little more
minivan?
long term. Oh no, not like a push for a
Tricycle?
mini tricycle. Um, might
Moped.
might push for a truck. Might go a little big boy. Push for a truck.
Oh.
I don't know. You'll see what the money looks like on the trade-in values. Other than that, I'm counting down the days.
I will say, I have a question for you guys. I did hit a deer, and for a new hood of my car, you guys know what car I have. How much money are we looking at? Are we looking at above like $300?
Yes.
Are you ordering it, or are you gonna get it out of a junkyard?
It depends. I mean, I don't even know what's best, but probably looking to get a new one. Probably ordering it.
I don't know if you have somebody off the top of your head. Maybe your dad would go with you or something. But there's a place probably an hour and a half ish north of you guys. I think it's like a pull and pick kind of thing. It's like I don't exactly know what it is to get in the door, but it's essentially whatever you can carry out of there you can have. If they happen to have your model, might be able to snag a hood. But it's pretty much like a scrapyard kind of thing. Dude I used to work with was talking pretty highly of it at one point, but I don't really know too much about it. I know we don't have anything too local to where you guys are at right now, but I want to say maybe it was like $50 to $200, somewhere in that range, to just carry out whatever you need, and could end up being cheaper. But if not, I mean, I don't know what it looks like exactly, like damage-wise, but I mean, possibly somebody in your area that does some body work, couple different places that might be able to at least quote you to even just see if it's worth fixing it instead of just getting a new one.
Well, I mean, how would you even fix that? I mean, maybe pound it out with a hammer. I mean, it wouldn't look perfect, but or like a mallet.
There might
Just
be
to
a way
form it.
to depending on how bad it is, there might be a way to get it
'Cause
at
it's
least
like
pretty close and then paint match it, but I'm not too
it's
sure.
like a mild volleyball-sized dent. But it was a giant deer. I mean, it was a big
But I
buck.
mean, does
It
it
was a
look like a
buck?
dent, or is it like a crinkle kind of thing?
No, it looks like it's there's a mixture. Like it's definitely like
Okay.
not just a little indent. But like I
If
mean,
you're
I hit
look-
it right in the front and my grill popped out, but my grill it's like a little plastic 2 foot grill. It's not like an actual like grill. But it popped out, but it's been popping out. So I just needed a new one anyway, and it like shattered into 100 pieces because I think I ran over it when it popped out.
Two things. One, if it was a buck and it's a volleyball size thing, maybe it's the obvious thought to me, but this dude have like, was he hung? Is that what happened? Like,
I mean,
nuts good?
he was.
Let's not.
Yeah.
Realistically, I mean, check out YouTube, see what kind of DIYs you can do, and if you're satisfied enough with it, you saved yourself the money. And if you fuck it up and you wanted to buy a new one anyway, you gave
I
it a
saw one
shot.
where they pour boiling water on it for like a little bit, and then they lift it up and they hit it with a mallet to try to
I've
undo
seen
it.
some stuff. I know some people say like heat it up and use like a ton of glue sticks. There's like certain good glue sticks to use for it or something, where you heat them up, basically melt it to it, and with heat on the backside, you can kind of like pop it out. I don't know. I've never really worked with it too much. Last time I hit an animal in that state, it wrecked up. It was small enough to like go through my radiator. Essentially, my radiator bent to like a very strong point. It was like, I don't know, a 30-pound fox somehow smoked it, going a little too fast, and
You
yeah,
smoked
it
a
was,
fox?
yeah.
30-pound
Actually,
fox?
fun
30
fact.
fox that went through your radiator. Bro, I hit a horse buck. It was a horse buck, and I have a volleyball sized dent. I mean, you were going 400 miles per hour.
So the craziest part about that story is me and your cousin Aidan, your nephew Larry. We were coming back from a college. We were just hanging out, and coming back maybe 5 miles from the exit we needed to be, and I'm hauling ass. It's cold. It's like probably about now, about this time of year. It's cold, hauling ass. Trying to get home. So it's probably like 40 degrees every night, 30 degrees every night, something like that. Like 2 a.m. And the cousin slash my friend here that's with me, he was in the mood. He's like, dude, watch this. I'm gonna take my camera and I'm gonna put it on your dash. I time lapse the rest of the drive. And I'm like, all right, dude, what the fuck ever. So there's a time lapse of me hitting this fox in existence. I have it. The fox runs across from the medium, And I'm like, wow, it's like way up there. And I'm like, wow, dude, look at that. It spins out like this on concrete, comes back, and I'm going like 95 to tell you the truth. And I just smoked it. And my car was low enough that it literally
on the highway.
Yeah, my radiator genuinely bent to a perfect point V and instantly just like started spraying all my coolant. It was done. So
Oh wow.
if you can imagine, I was 18, so the phone call to my mother wasn't fun, and she wasn't happy about it. And she basically told me, figure it the fuck out, and we'll talk in the morning. So one buddy came. We were waiting on the highway patrol, and thankfully, because we were cold, man. We were sharing like a 4x4 fire like blanket thing. So it's like really thin, and we weren't gonna like cuddle up in my car, so we're both like half covered, and then we'd be like, all right, switch seats, and we'd go cover the other half. So shout out my one buddy that stopped by, and he had his car heat on, and we waited, and then about 6:30 in the morning, I got that car back to my house, towed.
I have one question with your story.
Yep.
Are you sure you did not run over a fucking tiger? Because what kind of fox is totaling your car by hitting a fox? I mean, unless you're on the Indy 500. I mean,
actually, so it really didn't total it, but I was 18. I neglected maintenance on it. It was like, I think the car when I bought it was $3,400. I needed to put like $4,800 in it to get it back up and running, and I was kind of like, man, like I don't know. So I ended up buying like a $600 car that lasted me 3-4 months before I ended up going and getting a different car. But I can verify. I reached out to somebody in the community, big trapper guy, and he verified it was a red fox. So yeah, I have the proof. I don't know the weight. I'm
state
not gonna
record,
lie.
by the way.
I wanted to find it. I kid you not. This thing like went through. I don't know if it hit my back tire or what. It went through my radiator, like pointed it to a V, and it was gone. It was nowhere to be found. I don't know if it like hit the back tire and just flung a million miles an hour. But dude, that thing was gone.
Rumor has it he walked off like it was nothing. It was this fucking fox. I mean, dude, what the hell?
The size of the grill on your car, mine was like that cut in half. It literally was like 2 feet long, 8 to 12 inches wide, and it went through it. It was just gone. Like it went through it, cracked the bottom part of my bumper, radiator's bent to a V. I'm dripping stuff everywhere. I have some like my fog lights are dangling down off my car now. We didn't like wreck. We hit it.
Did your airbags go off?
No, not at all, dude.
Obviously, it didn't stop. So
it did that, and like I didn't wreck. But my thoughts were my car was 1,600 pounds. So I'm like, if I swerve at 90 miles an hour, you better freeze frame it because it's going to be like a scene out of Fast and Furious because it's we're flipping. So I hit it, and then I couldn't see because coolant is just. My first thought at 18 and just being dumb is I'm like, oh my God, my car is going to explode. But yeah, it didn't happen. I just had to pour water in it. I had like 8 water jugs in my car to get it to the mechanic, and I just had to pour water in it and stop and pour water in it and stop and pour in the morning. It was rough. Making
it happen, man. Making it happen.
Yeah, I essentially sold it to a guy that rebuilds cars and got a very cheap half-beat rebuilt car from him, and it was rough. So I feel for you, Aidan. I do feel for you.
You'll get there, man. Just don't get in a hurry. That's the big thing.
It still runs fine. There's literally not even a like a light came up. Like my tire pressure's a little low, but it's been low. Other than that, like there's a small dent on my hood.
Fair enough. Well, at least there is some good news this week. We played Kirby. It wasn't a bad game. It wasn't a hard game. It was a fun game, an enjoyable game. Aidan Simulator from 1993. If you don't somehow know about Kirby, somehow, some way, he's the big pink guy, at least specifically for this game. Second game in the series. North American release was like the spring of 93. Who made it? HAL Labs. Who published it? Of course, Nintendo. They're going to back up the Curbster. You still see them today. It's an action platformer of its time. Awesome. So basically, at least to give you a little bit of the rundown of what Kirby's Dreamland or Kirby's Adventure is about, is he's going through and he's in the Dreamland. Dude named Nightmare goes ahead and he corrupts the Fountain of Dreams because he's just a dickbag. What does the Fountain of Dreams do for the people in Dreamland? It's 1993. It makes sense. The fountain obviously provides good dreams to all the people and lets them sleep good. What more could
There you go.
it makes sense. It's just right there. So King Dedede wants to be an asshole and steal the star rod that powers the fountain, and he just gives his his little evil dickhead friends little pieces of it. So to stop Kirby, or I mean, as Kirby to stop Nightmare, you as the player, what do? You go around, start opening cans of whoop ass, kicking ass, taking names, get these star pieces back. So you get the star pieces back, you give it back to the fountain, and then guess what? Nightmare's like, I'm not fucking with the Curbster. He goes to space. What do? We chase him down and we beat him with the damn rod. That's what happens. So I like it of its time. I might have added a little extra words to describe it, but
No, I think it's exactly how it was in the manual.
Yeah, actually, I wrote the manual. They asked me pretty prematurely to write the manual. Yeah, so I mean, but like I said, of its time, 1993. How do we feel, Larry? I mean, what are your first impressions, if you can remember your first ones, and then coming back to it? What do you feel for it?
I've thought about this, and I can't remember what year it was I found it. I know this was a late year Nintendo game. It was towards the end of its life cycle. But I remember having it. I remember owning it and playing it, and it was fun. It was like you said. It's pure fun. It's got its difficulty, but it's not like a huge curve. Um, it's a good time. I mean, it's very playable. I remember enjoying it and playing it and going through it and just wanting to keep going through it.
Yeah, I could agree to that. Definitely.
And like I say now, revisiting it again, it brought back the nostalgia that I had for it. Beautiful game, but it still felt fun. And like I say, we'll cross more of that as we go around. But I wish I could think of a better word to describe why it was like that. But maybe Aidan, can you describe a better way of putting that together?
Well, I'll tell you what, I like the things you said, and I do think it's one of those games. It's not going to be a Contra. It's not going to be you'll hate your life the whole time you're playing it. Which I mean, you're not gonna have the troubles of, oh my god, I died. I'm done. Like I'm out of here. It's like, okay, I died. You pretty much have infinite lives because you die, you just go on the same board. You just reset all your shit, and like you get to keep your progress, which I like, and not to say I don't like games that aren't like that. I can just, I think I appreciate it in a special way in this game because I don't know how to explain it other than I think it works really well with this game that you don't lose your progress and it's lax, it's fun, it's chill, it's cool abilities, and it's really like it's easy on your eyes if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I could add on to both you there. I definitely like a lot of what we said there. I do like some games like Contra. I get it. Some of it, is that when you die, you go back to the start. And even with like the original Mario, like when you get messed up real quick, you're going back, and it's not like you have a couple hit points like you do in Kirby here. I like that I'm running through and I'm like, I get hit by something and I don't instantly, it's not the one hit, I'm dead. It's not, I'm out of lives. It's not like with Contra, it's just a couple hits, you respawn right there and then you're dead. I do like that you have like an actual health pool to where it's something that you can take a hit on, or in some examples, it's like this part's kicking my ass. Guess what? I have a full bar of health. You can just kind of jump right on through it, take the damage and keep moving. And yeah, I mean, the way that some of us play it, like Larry, I mean, knowing the way that you played it, like Aidan said, infinite lives, the way that you had it going, Larry, it was looking like infinite lives. You know what I mean? You were just racking up the one-ups and stuff. So, I mean, it's definitely nice that it's a game without the hard cap in a way. It does, like you guys both said, and like Larry, it's so easy to play. It's fun. It's not a rage-baiting game the way that Contra was for me, where it's you die, and I felt like with this, I learn when I die, I always found out, oh, that's what happened. This is what I do. And it's almost like there were some things like boss fight wise that got a little more difficult, which we'll get into. But I mean, in general, you die from something or you take a health hit and it felt like instantly you understand what to do next. It's not so much of like Contra where I struggled to find out what to do for 18 minutes straight. Might have been some user error, but easy on the eyes, easy to play, especially up front, first impression.
I'll just one more thing to add on. I do think, like I was saying, one of the major points. It's a game that someone very like it used to think every like video game back in the day was a kid's game, but this one it truly is. Almost all ages can appreciate this game, and as we get forward, I mean that has its pros and cons. We'll get into it.
Yeah, agreed. I definitely think that's a thing, and I mean to kind of add on to the first impressions and touch base on what the graphics are looking like. I mean, it's later of Nintendo's timeline. I mean, to me, it looked great and it played really well. Like, I mean, the movement is as clean as it could be, really, for its time. I think the movement's years ahead of its time for other things that we've played. And I don't think it doesn't freeze up like some of the other games we've touched base where there's too many enemies on the screen and it's running like no problem. And I mean it helps gameplay wise a lot, especially going back to it in 2024. A lot easier to go back 30 years later when the game doesn't bug out when there's 2 enemies coming at you. You have 18 enemies coming at you and you don't have an issue. So I think graphic wise, I mean, they really hit it out the park. And like I said, maybe be part of the fact is late Nintendo, but well refined. The movements are phenomenal in comparison to some other games of the time. And I mean, how do you, Aidan? I mean, how do you feel about the graphics? I mean, I love them.
Listen, I have a personal disagreement, and this could be a problem on my end, just because I kind of did have those frame drops where certain abilities, like I think it was the spark ability, where like if I had some people on my screen and I used the spark ability, I would like slow down and get some frame drops. Maybe that was a system issue because I definitely did have some of those problems, but it definitely was not on the level of. It was on the level of say DuckTales, which DuckTales I'm not saying is a bad game, but like when like that one area where you had those like plunger dogs and those spiders dropping down, like every time I'd go around there, I'd be like I'm getting 30 frames, like, and it was killing me. But I do think, like I was touched on what I first said, it's definitely easy on the eyes. I really like the color palette. It's almost like it's like a pastel world. It's like it's really cool. And it's when I think of the game and when I look at the graphics, I don't know why I think soft. Like there's not a whole lot of hard edges, and there's no gore. It's just, I don't know. It's cutesy. Not to be girly about it, but it's cute. It's a cutesy game, and it's pretty to look at.
Yeah, totally fair. I mean, you got a pink main character like that kind of softer on the edges, like you said. I mean, it's not, if you look at the original Mario, where Mario is pretty blocky, you know what I mean? And you look at Kirby, and he's a big ball. Like, there's not really much room to be blocky as much. So, I mean, Larry, how you feel about it?
Well, it's definitely the third phase of Nintendo, which in some idea, the third phase is, I think the Super Nintendo itself had already just came out or is getting ready to, but they've mastered the Nintendo. The graphics are clean, everything looks tight. Like you say, you don't get any that real hard 8-bit kind of design. Everything, the curves look like curves. Like Aidan said, it all looks soft, which to some degree, I think that's a tribute to the idea that nothing is really blocky. But it is a beautiful game. I mean, colors and different stuff everywhere. Just, the paint guy is one thing, but I mean, the backgrounds are luscious. Everything has depth to it, color wise. Slow down. I get some of that, and like I say, I do recall, like Aidan said, when you had the spark thing. I think it's probably just because the amount of graphic power that's happening at that moment with him lighting up, and then also people still other sprites trying to move around and carry on. But it's a really lovely game, and I wish I could think of the guy who made it or whatever. But he they put a lot of they put art into this because they had, like I said, they've mastered what the system could do at this point.
Yeah, no, well put. And like you said, yeah, I mean, the Super Nintendo released 2 years prior, and honestly, I could be wrong. I don't know. I wasn't there, but to me, it feels like this was kind of their way of getting a Kirby title on the NES. But I mean, from the playthrough, it just as well feels like a Super Nintendo game to me. Like I if this was on the Super Nintendo instead of the NES, I'm not gonna sit here and think that, oh, this is just a shitty Super Nintendo game. I think it feels of its time of Super Nintendo kind of thing. So like I said,
Yeah.
maybe it was just kind of a way to get that on this platform, to say that they had it on there. You know, they did have the one on the Game Boy previously, so it kind of probably looks good to get one on each console. And, you know, maybe you don't have the Super Nintendo yet. Well, guess what? You probably still do have your Nintendo sitting around either way. Even if you did get the new one, you can still play the Kirby game.
Oh well, definitely back at that time, it was, money was definitely tight. The change of the decades was happening, but it was a hard thing to convince your parents that you already have this video game system that they've dropped hundreds to thousands of dollars in, which at this point, thousands to $10,000s of dollars into in our world. But yeah, it's hard to convince them of the upgrade part. But seeing Kirby as an early Super Nintendo game, not hard to imagine at all. But it's definitely a masterclass in what they were able to accomplish. And I think it was just, they probably started on it on the Nintendo, so like, we're just gonna put it here because I do know they put out another Kirby on the Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, this here would have been easily like, coming out right after Super Mario World, which is not
100%.
unimaginable.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, to touch base on the art, like you mentioned, I mean, the soundtrack in this game was awesome. I really,
Yeah.
I've obviously everything we've done, I have a new favorite soundtrack, or oh, the soundtrack's awesome. I don't know, the soundtrack does something for me, and I think my favorite bit of audio in the game has to be the we'll call it the Mario Star, because that's it's it paved the way. The Mario Star song in Kirby is just phenomenal. If it's the little lollipop, I want to call it, but I might be wrong. It's awesome. I like it better than the Mario song. So
I thought it was actually like a magic wand, but yeah, okay, I get you. Lollipop, I can see that.
Probably right. I mean, yeah, I know you guys have been big on soundtracks. Larry, how you feel about the sound of it? I mean,
Again, it's good stuff. I have you as soon as you said soundtrack, music little started popping in my head. And I have to say the one where Kirby's dancing at the end of each
yes.
level, that one's gonna stick with me for a long time. I mean, I feel like I brushed my teeth. I should have that damn song playing. I got dressed today. That song should play with me spinning around dancing.
That should be
it's
like
just a good.
Should be a notification for when like every kitty is born. You just hear that sound.
Yeah, right.
It plays
And I mean,
everywhere. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
the dance he does with it is perfect. Aiden, can we get an
Yeah.
example of the dance for our visual viewers?
No, you cannot.
Okay, whatever. If you at least want to give us a comment on the soundtrack, we'd appreciate it.
Okay. Well, I was looking out on my phone, and it is a Japanese name. Most of the soundtracks were composed by Hirokazu Tanaka and Jun Ishikawa. But I really think it's like they add to the appeal and the environment of the game so much. I mean, you have these like upbeat little jingles that are instantly recognizable. If I heard that Kirby end of the level sound, I don't care if it's 10 years from now, I'm going to recognize, oh shit, that's when Kirby beat a level. Like, and that adds so much to a game. And not to be a hater on our generation, but I feel like you don't have a lot of that original sound design as much. I don't think it's
No,
really something special.
I honestly, I can't think of any modern music that comes up in games like that.
Elden Ring. Other than that,
Oh damn.
Other than
Okay,
that.
so time mark that we got through about 30 minutes before he brought it up, but
that might be a new record, actually.
but even like the boss battles, like I was sitting here thinking as Aidan was talking about it, it's like when that comes up, it's like the atmosphere changed. You know that something's like oh shit, it's on. It's time. It's no longer happy explore little things flying around. There's something here that's going to kill me, or at least make an attempt to. But it's definitely a very good thing. I know this is late in this, and maybe I should have brought it up earlier, but hey, what freedom, we speak as we do. FYI, for anyone who happens to have the Nintendo Online service for your Nintendo Switch, they came out with a Nintendo Music app, and I think there's actually a couple different Kirby's on there. I've
Yep.
been geeking out to Metroid music, but that's a whole other issue on its own. But it's two things in that. One, it's easily made soundtracks available. They don't have everything on there though, because I really wanted to listen to some NES and Super Nintendo Legend of Zelda.
Fair.
Neither of those are on there. Hopefully they'll update it and bring them on later. But so one, it makes it easily accessible, but on the same token, I'm afraid it's going to take those kind of things off of YouTube or other places that we normally have found them over the last 20, 30 years of internet. Because Nintendo's like, well, look, now we're selling them here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and if Nintendo can make more money off of it, you better bet they will. And if somebody is using it without their permission, then you better bet they're suing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's Nintendo way.
True. Yeah, Nintendo's they like to protect their assets, to put it politically.
And I think I saw something where, like, because it's in Japan and the courts have they've won every single like sue or defamation or literally every single lawsuit that they've won in Japan because it's Nintendo in Japan. So they're not going to lose anything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, dude, the Nintendo in their company is so big that I don't even know how much opening music they had part of in the Olympics, but I mean Mario was part of their whole national image when they were doing the Olympic open ceremonies in 2021 with it. I mean, I really wish, like I said, without COVID, what it would have looked like and how they would have taken that full experience out to see how that goes. But that itself, that's straying far away from where we're at. We'll save that for another day, another conversation.
And we'll touch on, just to pay even more homage, I still think one of my favorite games for soundtracks that we played is, go check it out, Episode 2, Mega Man. I really like the soundtracks for that game. And even like the level soundtracks, I really enjoyed.
No,
just pay a little homage to that.
Totally fair. I mean, the game looks nice. We like the graphics, we like the sounds. Not every game's perfect, and I'm going to start with Aidan since I ripped on Contra so hard. If you had to, pick out some things in the game that weren't really your favorite, some of your low moments for Kirby's Adventure, I mean, what's on your head with that?
Okay, so where do I start? No, I'm just kidding. I like the game. I actually do really like the game. And it's kind of like a con to what I was saying earlier, that I do think the not full resetting when you lose your lives, it's relaxing. It's almost it's stress free. You can play carefree. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to play like stressfully. But also the cons of it. It's almost too easy. I mean, you have no fear of, oh, I died. I lost my life. So well, I guess I'll just get a game over animation screen and then go right back to where I was. Like, oh boy. But also there's definitely some levels where you can like suck in air and just almost fly over the whole level, or like, because I think it was maybe map, I can't remember the name, but maybe map 5. It was a thing with like there was like a bunch of blimps with a bunch of wind turbines, and you could literally you could suck in air, go to the top, and float across the entire board without seeing any enemies. And there's definitely spots in this game where you can just cheese. And I mean, and like that's the con aspect. I want a little bit of a challenge, and I feel like I don't get enough challenge to fill my needs.
Valid points. Valid points. I mean, yeah, I won't admit or incriminate myself on if I did that at any point. Maybe if you watch the YouTube video, you might catch me in the action, but hopefully that doesn't hold up in the court of VGR pod. But I mean, Larry, is it too easy for you, or do you have anything else that really brings it down in your eyes?
Well, I mean, it's almost one of those ones like where you challenge yourself. Yeah, you can probably fly across 90% of this game, but do you really want to do that? And the idea of what I can't stand, I'm trying to think, can't find a whole lot in this game I dislike. There's things that just tend to piss me off a little bit, but to say I dislike it, I don't think so. I mean, I can't think of anything that's too unfair. I can't think of anything that's really there. I know there's got to be something in this that I just wish I dislike, but outside of a couple bosses who just seem like it almost seems like it points at rubber bands you. It's like, oh, you're doing too well, so now we're gonna just turn this up. And it's like, okay,
Yeah,
okay, let's step up to it, and then you step up, and like Aiden says, it's suddenly just got easy again, and
yeah.
just to kind of put you in check, I guess. But um, damn, I think about it, I don't have any major complaints on it.
I will say to touch on kind of what Larry said about why would you? It's like almost an integrity thing. Like, yeah, but you don't want to make the game easier. That's a big debate in the gaming community is whether these games like these Souls-like games or any of the Souls-like knockoffs or any of these notoriously really hard games
Like
should
Elden
there
Ring?
be an like Elden Ring actually now that you mention it. But people were saying should there be an easy mode? And I feel like that why I don't think the integrity argument works like, oh, why would you want to play on ultra easy mode? Yeah, but if there's an option, it kind of takes away. You want oh, this game's hard and I beat this game without any type of easy mode. And I feel like there's a pride to be had in that. And if there's like an ultra easy way to beat the game, like I feel like you can't really brag to things like, oh, I beat Kirby. I'm like, so what? In the same way as
Fair.
like if Elden Ring had an ultra easy mode, like, oh, I beat Elden Ring. I'm like, probably played on easy mode. Like, who cares?
That's fair. To add on to it, I think it definitely depends on the game too. Like with Kirby, if there's an easier mode than this, I think if you add a hard mode to a game that doesn't necessarily have an easy mode, it's like normal and hard, it's different. But like with Kirby, if there's an easier mode, yeah, I'm right there with you. Like maybe with Elden Ring, but I will say the newer Star Wars games that came out with Cal Kestis, Jedi Survivor, and of those likes, there is a mode. Just there's like story, and then they rank up in difficulty. But the story mode, I mean, it's essentially like your parry times and stuff like that don't matter as much, but it is still a good story. So I mean, with certain games, I do sit on that aspect because it's like I played it on one up, and I mean that it was pretty difficult even on one up. I can't imagine playing it on super hard, and I
No,
mean. I found myself playing through it in the story mode sometimes just because of that. So with certain games, I think easy
I
mode would be
100% agree. I'm typically like against an easy mode game just because I feel like get good kid for the most part. But like
yeah,
game like Red Dead Redemption, like that's mainly for this or God of War.
yeah.
I don't want it to be crazy hard and be stuck on this animation sequence for the next 2 3 hours. But
Well,
I feel like Kirby doesn't really fit under those
Yeah, it's very
under the
fair.
story mode type of game.
well, just to lead back a little bit. That our CJ's favorite game, Contra. There's Contra 4 on the DS, which I remember if I came out because there's many years separated between the DS and the Super Nintendo, which went from 3 to 4 at that point. Uh, there's 3 levels, which was easy, normal, and hard. And normal kicks your ass. I mean, just straight kicks your ass. So you go back to easy because you want to try to get through it. Well, I think you get to like level 6 or 7, you beat it. It's like, yeah. And the game comes up, it's like, okay, yeah, way to go. Now try it on normal. I'm like, what the hell? And I mean, so I played it, I crushed it out. It actually had more levels to it that beyond that just straight kicked your ass. And I never did see whether or not I actually beat it or if it went any further than, the level or so behind it. But yeah, Kirby doesn't. I don't think you could add anything to Kirby that's going to make it harder other than, some aliens with guns, but there's an alien with like, a little laser thing, so you got that right.
Fair. I don't really. I'm kind of with you on the takeaways in a bad way, Larry. I mean, there's not a ton for me to really hate, and I mean, maybe it's too critical because for its time, it's not really. I don't really find it to be an issue. But one thing I ran into was with certain power ups and the way the world was set up. Yes, it had that smooth edge, but for example, the like the wheel power up where you turn into like pretty much Sonic. Certain
Mhm.
angles in hills and stuff, I would get caught up on. And instead of going down the slope, it was almost like there was an invisible wall I'd hit, and I would lose my power up a few times that way. Just some more fine tuning stuff. Like I said, it's 1993. Might be a little critical. Really wasn't game breaking or anything for me. And I mean, I'd say to at least put something down for myself to give it some sort of criticism of what I didn't like. The underwater shit just kind of pissed me off because it felt like the areas were so small, and then not being able to use your power ups, which made sense underwater. God, it pissed me off though. And then you just had to blow the water at them instead of the air, and it was like God, like a 4-foot range maybe. So that it frustrated me a few times.
I'm literally surprised that there actually isn't a water level here. I mean, since you
That's what I
brought
was
that
gonna
up. I
Yeah,
mean that's
no,
pretty
agreed.
Nintendo common, on any sort of platforming, all that. There should be a water level just to totally make you hate it. But I don't know. Again, I don't know how if we look at it as a good thing or bad thing. But I do say in the dislike area of this, we're kind of reaching, we're kind of nitpicking to some degree. So I mean, that might speak some volumes to how good this may be. But I don't know.
And yeah, I agree. I definitely have a little bit more gripes than you guys, but nothing serious. I mean, I truly think this is a Nintendo game that's like, I mean, gameplay wise, just feel of the game, great look, great audio, great graphics. I mean, it's almost like a peak Nintendo game.
Yeah, no, I could agree to that. And I mean, go ahead and stack on top of it, Aiden. I mean, what's your favorite takeaways from the game? I mean, obviously some good stuff here.
Okay, so like I mentioned, I didn't really utilize it until the second half, but I really like the sliding mechanic, and that's one thing. Sliding mechanic really cool. I like those little kind of interesting. Like it's just cool to navigate and get good at. It's not particularly like crazy useful unless you use it like properly. But I would have to say that's number two. My number one, not okay, CJ's not paying attention to my answer. He's stretching right now. But I will say, not to piggyback off what I said in my last podcast, go check it out. I was hosting our Contra episode, but I really like the environment. The music added perfect charm. The environment was just perfect. It was cutesy. You felt good. I don't know. It's like you're playing in a rainbow cat land, and everything was soft and cutesy with cute little noises and little pink guy. And I feel like the environment of the game was top notch for me.
Well, definitely. I think it helps the feeling happiness of it. I mean, it's strange to me that there exists a guy named Nightmare in this world because it's so just happy and rainbows and sunshine around here. It's so yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely just a little bit everywhere with that atmosphere of just happiness. I mean, I guess that it helps sell the sadness of when Nightmare comes in and takes all your happy dreams away because life's good, you have great dreams, and now this guy's just taking all of it.
Yeah, no, Aiden, I was listening. My back got a little tight there for a second. I just need to, for you visual watchers, need to loosen that up a little bit. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I mean, I'll try to add on to something really quick with it. And I mean, yeah, it felt lighthearted, I guess is a good word for it, maybe. I don't know if it makes sense without playing it, but maybe from watching it or maybe from playing it for other people. I mean, I think the feel of the game, maybe you could say the atmosphere of the game in itself, just total, made it feel. I kind of get like I said before with Contra, even like I mean other games of the time, I kind of get a little lost into it, and I feel like Kirby playing this game. I don't really feel like I'm holding the controller as much as I feel like I'm Aiden. I mean Kirby, just running through the world, you know. I think one thing for sure that was gotta be it definitely held the game together for me is a lot of the abilities. I think not just the variety, but the quality of a lot of them. There weren't very many bad abilities. Um, Aiden, I know you expressed your feelings on the rock ability to me at one point. It's probably the worst. But I mean, outside of that, I mean, there's some pretty good and fun abilities. Like I don't think all of them that are able that you're able to use are like awesome, but even the ones that kind of suck ish are pretty cool. Like the wheels kind of debatable because the control you have of it, the like people's elbow that you get at some point from the one boss is it's not really the best to use, but it's definitely fun. And even I really like the tornado, but I mean it's at least fun because it sometimes is a little crazy. You might fall off off of where you're trying to be, fall off the map, but I love the abilities.
I do want to say, I do want to kind of ask you guys, excluding boss abilities, what's your guys' favorite ability?
Ooh.
Think about
Um,
that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I was caught up on definitely how much I do love all the abilities myself, like the variety, the amount of them. I mean, good God, I think there's like 30 different things, at least 20, 25 and minimum. But um, I know I always find myself going back to probably, I want to call it the fireball. It's the
Yeah.
one, the boss, not the boss, but the enemy would come out and it spun around and it took off. I know forever, even some playing it the first time back in the 90s, just love that rhythm you can get into where if you get high enough, like say you can shoot, there's one level I know we watched in the playthrough where you can shoot across after you come through the door, drop down, shoot to the other side down there, drop down another level, shoot another one, and I think that's where you hit the water finally. I mean, that's just fun. I
The fun
mean,
Right.
ability.
you can kill some
100%.
shit while you're at it, but it's a good time. I do like the fireball.
Would you go as far to say that's your favorite part of the game would be the abilities too? Like, I mean, does that really hold it together for you, kind of thing?
Oh, it's what makes it fun to come back to. I think is just all these different things and always try something different. I remember early on I used to love using the sword. I'm just a sword guy. Let's chop it all up. At
Mm-hmm.
this point, like I said, I tried different things to get us there. Strangely, I found a love for the beam this past playthrough. It's uh, just a pretty cool little weapon, and I think the goal was always to get the UFO. I just don't know why, but just love that little thing. It's
Yeah, the UF is fun, and I do
Three
think
and one.
the beam is like old consistent. Like it's good, has decent
Mhm.
range on it. It's gonna kill. I mean, you find it everywhere. It's definitely solid. That's like that's old reliable. But I think my favorite one. I don't think it's beam, but it's like you shoot like a Han Solo laser
The
type
laser,
beat.
dude, is
You know what I'm talking
nice.
about? Like you shoot a laser. I really like the range on it because I feel like I can just snipe enemies from far and just
Yeah.
cruise and like trick shot motherfuckers. So I think
okay. Yeah.
I didn't really include this in my question, but I think my base game I would have to say like the Jedi blaster, but my favorite boss ability has to be the hammer. Like the hammer is like the upgraded sword, but it has like
Agreed.
much more range and it looks cool as hell.
No, agreed. I think I'm really with you on that. The fireball was cool. I know you guys liked it, I think, better than me. At least fun, gimmicky wise. I love the tornado. It's kind of funny to me because it's just all over the place and it's just nonstop. Like, I think there was one level where I genuinely spammed it all the way to the end with like zero issue. It took
Shout
me a
out
second
Woo.
to get control, but it's funny. So it's the Midwest ability I get to use. But the laser that you said, the Han Solo laser, if you will, like you said, especially the little mini boss fights where you can go into the arena and get a tomato. Dude, I mean, it's so easy. You
Oh,
literally stand at the back and spam it, and before the boss even touches you, you're killing it. So it's like free tomato out of it. And the hammer for sure, I like that a lot. As long as it's not the high jump kick shit, I don't like that at all. I'll be honest with you. Not a fan of high jump kick, but the hammer's nice.
the high jump's got its place in the tower. I think that's
It
really where
does.
it comes in. I tell you the one I can't. I don't know why. I'm sure it has a purpose. Is like the ice cube or the ice block where you
I'm
create that
with
and
you.
kick that across. I mean,
Yes, not a fan.
even the whole freezing, like creating a little shield around you of ice. That seems a little more valuable than the little block that comes out because that's just so unpredictable. It's just not worth anything at that point.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I wasn't a big fan of the ice ability. I tend to skip over it when I play through. I do like
Oh
some of
yeah.
the like, one use abilities from like the first little mini boss thing where you spaz out all over the screen. I know Aiden, you wasted it completely. I wasted it completely. It's really cool, but I feel like in order to actually use it, I would want it so much farther in the game that I would have to pretty much go untouched without using a single ability for years to come. And I think my big gripe with the high jump kick is it's in the museum before the Sun and Moon fight, and I could not find a relevant use for it in that fight. I think I might have barely squeaked in one hit with it, and I was like, it just feels like you could have put in other abilities that didn't make the fight super easy that would have still been way more useful than the high jump kick. Like it almost felt more in the way. Like I felt like I had an easier time with no ability than with the high jump kick. I think I took more damage than I did with it. So I mean, did you run into an ability that you hated?
I'm obviously my first thought would be the rock, because it's like, because you're not really jumping on top of a whole lot of enemies. Like you don't have any horizontal play at all. You just kind of like, I hope I am in a position to jump on top of this guy. But as I think about it, I don't know if you guys ran into this ability, but the ball ability was shit. So when you turn into a ball, and it made your movement uncontrollable, but you also took damage while you were in the form. Like why is that even an ability? It's like it like turns you into a basketball that's hard to control, and you take damage.
Yeah, I agree with that. I hated that one so much that I think I blocked that out, and now you and me for my next therapy session.
Yeah, I was wondering the first time I ran into it. I'm like, hell yeah, this is like a cooler version of the wheel. No, not at all. Actually, it was the worst.
You
version
take
of the
damage.
wheel. Well, at first I was like, cool, I get to control the wheel essentially, but just move slower. This is awesome. Yeah, and then instantly I get poked by a little shy guy looking fella, and I just
And
lose the ball.
I think if you want to like suck air to go up, you have to like cancel out of your ability and then start sucking air. Like you can't just suck air while you're in your ability. So like,
Yeah, right.
if there's like a hole you're about to fall into, like you can't catch yourself with air either. It's like, you're worse than if you had no ability.
I swear, yeah, no, I agree. And like I can't think of a relevant boss fight that you could use that ability in. Like most of the abilities at least
You
seem
can't.
somewhat relevant, but like
while you're in their ability, you can't kill an enemy. So it's like
yeah,
useless.
it's I don't know. It's not awesome. Like that's for sure. I mean, what boss gave you guys the most difficult time / was the worst boss? Because there could be a difference. I think you can enjoy a hard boss, but if there's a boss that you hated,
I'm gonna steal this up front because compared to the rest of them, the tree on level 1 is pointless. I mean, it's not even like you don't learn anything from it. It even comes back later, I do believe, but still, it's just like it's just another damn wall, and I think we had enough walls in freaking Contra.
Yeah.
I can agree on the easiness. Like it was just so easy, it almost wasn't even a boss. But I just feel like it's almost so iconic. Like I'm pretty sure there's a few Super Smash Bros. Stages about it. Like I just feel like when Kirby bosses, that's one of the bosses I think of personally. But I will say my least favorite boss has to be the painter guy, the roller skate painter guy. Man, he was just so annoying, and he had no like pattern of switching from corner to corner. It's kind of just, I'm just gonna maybe go to this corner now, and you know what, I'm gonna go corner you're at right now, and like it's just annoying to play that guy. It wasn't like, it was kind of hard, but it was more just annoying. Like, okay, how could I predict he was gonna fly to this corner that I was standing in?
Agreed.
One time it painted Kirby for me, and I was like, "Ooh, one up." No, it's just
No, yeah,
another damn
exactly.
thing. I'm
Like
like,
exactly. Like I can agree to that for sure. The painter pissed me the fuck off, dude. Like just like you said, it wasn't even so difficult to just so damn annoying because mechanically, like I mean, the lightning, you just stay on the lower level. He throws the car and it bounces off the other way. So if you want it, you got to be there. The bomb's easy to throw back at him. The Kirby, once you realize it's not a one up, it's easy to throw back at him. It's just annoying, sporadic movement, which is it felt kind of out of place for the game in a way because it was just so damn annoying. And I mean, I think another thing that is really similar. It's not really difficult, but it's just so damn annoying. Is the fucking the Mega Knights running around, the little fellas with
"Oh
all their
God,
weapons.
yes."
yeah.
The Trident one specifically in the top left. It's just frustrating because it's like it wasn't so difficult. It was really good at rage baiting me. It just pissed me off. And I felt like no matter what weapon you took into it, they snatched that weapon so quick and then got easier on you. So it's like, we just don't want you to fight us with a weapon. And it just kind of pissed me off. I didn't like
And
that.
not only that, this is in every game. The worst type of bosses in every game, like I'm not bringing it up again, but Elden Ring and every game with a boss, the worst type of bosses are the bosses where there's just a bunch of like minions running around while you're fighting
Yeah.
the boss. I don't want to fight your minions. I want to one head to head with this badass boss, and we're duking it out. I don't want to worry about your little minions that are just a pain in the ass. Like they're foot soldiers that I kick in the face and they insta die, and like the regular board, but they're just annoying while I'm fighting this guy, and they're just tedious and the least fun boss in any game, in my opinion. It's just adding little annoying guys to make it harder. it doesn't add. There's nothing of substance being added to the boss fight.
I could totally agree.
In this, they pop up several times, so it's just like
Yes, and it's every time it's like, oh my god, this again. Like it never. It's like I'm not so like worried that like, oh shit, I gotta fight these guys. It's just like, or it's like for the Pokemon fans, it's like when Team Rocket shows up, especially in the first season of Pokemon. It's like, will you just move the fuck out of the way, please, and let me do what I need to do? It's just so annoying.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, yeah. If you flip the coin over and we talk about, the good bosses, I guess we'll say, was there certain fights that you enjoyed, even, whether it's difficult or easy, and what your thoughts are on it? I mean, Larry, you've probably seen the most bosses. I think you made it farther than I ended up making it at one point.
Well, I mean, I did. One, I forgot that Nightmare was the boss, so I definitely seen him. I to feel as a boss, I guess I'm gonna have to go King DDD, um, because it was a boss. I mean, it was hard. You had to figure out patterns. He killed me several times, and actually, like I said, I ended up having to. I think left me with one life for Nightmare. So he wiped me out pretty good. It's just he was tough, he's strong, he's fast, but boss wise, he was the boss of bosses in this, I would have to say.
I like it. No, that's a fair statement. Aidan, I know you made some good progress. Do you have a certain one that you ended up liking afterwards?
I will say I really like the difficulty plus the design of the sun and the moon. I like them switching out and they have different abilities. I feel like that was a fun boss fight. And it felt more creative than tedious with the two different moons. And I like the atmosphere of it. I like how the difference when they switch out, the level lighting and stuff. I feel like I have to go Sun and Moon boss. Don't know the name, but Sun and Moon it is.
I think
I
that
mean,
might
that
just be
sounds
the name. Yeah. I'm with you though. I think the first time I ran into him, it just pissed me off and I was like, oh, this is worse than the painter. But no, I totally agree. I think once I got the hang of it, it felt like it was making me sweat, but I enjoyed it. It felt like a good fight. And then like Larry said with King Dedede, I mean, it felt like a boss fight. Like it didn't feel like just some annoying dude like the painter or the stupid tree just kind of stand in your way for whatever reason. It felt like a true fight. And yeah, to touch on what you said, Aiden, the switch of the atmosphere, perfect. And the difference in attacks, I think it was, at least for me, one of the earliest instances I can think of something like this. Definitely used in later games, but I like the tag team kind of thing that they had going on, and I like that they had the different abilities and that you kind of had to use the moon's abilities to take down the sun and the sun's to take down the moon. And I like that it wasn't a combined health pool, which you've definitely seen in later games in the Xbox PS2 era. You see some things where it's like that, but it's one health pool. And I can't think of a specific instance, but there's definitely been games where like the sun would be easier than the moon. So I'm just going to dodge around the moon while I beat the shit out of the sun. But technically I beat both of them because they share a health pool. So I like the separate health pools a lot too. So I like that one.
Yeah, and then one boss that I did not like in Elden Ring was the Godskin duo, and it was pretty much two bosses at one time, but it's such a long boss fight. Like the game, it's already hard enough, but the game there's two people in the room, and they had a combined health pool, but the health pool was so massive. Like every time you killed one, it respawned until you beat the health pool, and it was just a pain in the ass. Everyone that's played Elden Ring knows. But I feel like this one, it was it the sun and the moon for me mixed with the difficulty, because you guys know I like some difficult shit mixed with the difficulty plus the atmosphere. It didn't feel easy like most of the bosses in this game. It felt like a challenge, and I liked it.
Yeah, no, agreed. And if we're gonna bring up our favorite games in World of Warcraft, in the last expansion, there was a dungeon that was that they upped the difficulty on that people ran pretty often, and it was similar where it had two bosses with different mechanics. Well, if you split them up, the one was easy as hell to beat, and they had a shared health pool. And guess what the strategy was? Because the challenge of it basically was it was timed. You split them up and you beat the hell out of the weak one. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed the fact that it makes you do your work. It's not like the sun's going to be easy and you can beat it. And I like that it felt balanced too. It didn't feel like the sun's the heavy hitter and the moon's just this weak dude, it felt like they were the yin and yang of the fight, and I liked it. It felt nice.
Agree.
So yeah, I was gonna say it's a fun one. I mean, to really sum up our experience on it, see, get your final closing thoughts on the game, Kirby's Adventure. How do we feel about it, Aidan? Like, how do we feel overall on the
Well,
game?
I would say I would have to recommend the game. I think it's just such a lax game. You almost just play for the experience, the atmosphere. It's lax. If you're looking for something that's crazy, that you're gonna get challenged, you're not gonna find it here. But you want a cool atmosphere, a chill little game with a little pink dude that sucks everything, and some cool new abilities. And I want to say, it helps with what I recommend it. I feel like this game has maybe because it's kind of an easier game, maybe not to the max, but it has some replay value. Unlike some games on the NES, this definitely has replay value with the abilities and the levels, and you want to see, I want to get like the extra special levels. I want to get them good this time, and when this playthrough, I'm not going to use the fireball. I'm just going to use the sword the whole time. Like, it definitely has some replay abilities, and I'll probably come back to it someday. So for that, I have to recommend it.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I mean, I feel similarly, and something I was reading on the game when I was digging a little deeper into it is one thing that this game is praised for is its replayability, kind of for some of the things that you touched on. And hell, you could have a kid here in 5 years, and 10 years down the road be like, hey, this is a game that me, my uncle, and my buddy played, and they probably could pick it up no problem. I mean, you could be age 5 or 6 and start picking up this game and play it and enjoy it, or you could recommend it to a friend in their later years in life and probably really enjoy it. I mean, I can't imagine how much fun this would probably have been in somebody's mom's basement with some Doritos and shit back in the day. You get a couple TVs going. I mean, I know it's not a multiplayer game, but hell, I wouldn't be opposed to doing it, of the time. I think it's definitely a game you can come back to. And matter of fact, even in my recording at the very beginning, I had some 2 saves that were a little bit progressed where I dabbled around with it. And like you said, take your different paths, use your different abilities, see what works. And I definitely found out playing again more abilities I could get into than previously that I could take advantage of and use and enjoy. So, I mean, agreed.
Except for
I
the
mean,
ball.
you came back to it obviously for the video. So, I mean, how did it feel coming back?
Um, I I would probably pick this up myself again. It is. I think on many levels, it's a good recommendation for anybody of any age, and any skill level. I mean, brand new, whether you be 2 or 20 or 200, whether you're new to games or if you're a avid gamer like you guys are to some degree. Um, it's a good experience. It's fun. But like I say, there's the curve is not so difficult that you can't bring anybody into it. Um, and I think there's enough playthrough that you can kind of speed run it through the first couple levels if you're the hardcore gamer. But at some point it's going to catch you,
Yeah,
and
agreed.
there's enough there to do it. Um, so yeah, definitely just it's a good time, good game. And yeah, I can't think of anybody I wouldn't recommend it to outside of someone who's not breathing above ground. I mean, it's a good game, and you should try it.
Yeah, no, I mean, couldn't agree more. It's also, I think it helps. It's not like a super niche game. It's everybody knows Kirby. You don't even have to play video games and can at least just point out who Kirby is. You know what I mean? So
Oh, yeah.
I like that it doesn't feel so unfamiliar. And even if you've never played a video game in your life, you've probably been around somebody that knows Kirby. You've heard the name. You can at least be like, oh, that pink guy. I mean, I think you could pick up, yeah, like you said, any age, young or old, probably show this to somebody that's 85 and just give them some basic controls, and they probably won't hate their life playing it the way that they might with other game Contra.
Well,
It's just it's a good play.
well, with that though, I mean, even like you say, playing some of the new modern stuff, something in between, we just catch up on. It's a good palate cleanser, I think. Like I say,
Yes.
it takes you back to enjoying playing video games. Having fun with it, which is part of I think what's important about it is just enjoying the fact that we playing a game to have fun.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean the game definitely it sits right with me. Palate cleanser is a great word to use. I've been, like I said earlier, a lot of Black Ops 6, and if you know the Call of Duty community, God, sometimes it pisses you off. So to just sit back and I mean genuinely just kick my feet up and play a game, not have to lock into the screen so hard and just chill out, sit back and play a game like this. So refreshing. I couldn't agree more. It's a nice glass of cold water on a hot day.
Absolutely.
So I mean, we gotta do what we gotta do here. We all know what time it is. It's the official VGR time of grading. I guess that was the worst way to put that. But official ratings coming out. Let me see. Let me spin the wheel, flip the coin. Aidan, you're first. Let's get your thoughts. Do you hate it as much as I hated Contra? Is this a great game to you? The way that Contra wasn't to anybody.
You know what? I really wanted to hate this game even more for what you did to Contra. I wanted to hate it. I wanted to be like, man, that son of a bitch. I'm going to rate this a 2. Rate this a 1 because you gave Contra a 2. But I just can't. I mean, it's such. You got good music. It's like such a good feel to the game. The movement is smooth. The gameplay is fun. Soundtrack, the graphics, this cute little fun world. Literally the only knack I had it. I wish it was a little more difficult, but that's just I can't even knock the game for that because that's just a personal thing. So mixture of all that, I didn't really have a number coming into this. I was kind of debating the whole time what I was saying. The pinpoint thing. I usually have a number, but I want to go 8.7.
I like it. I like it. I can't be mad at that. And I appreciate your work that you've done here for me. Yeah, no, I like it. Larry, how you feel?
Well, I'm thinking here as Aiden's talking, say I didn't come in this with a number either in my head, really. I just kind of wanted to wing it. I know I had some nostalgia for it, played it back in the day. It takes me back to that, but remind me again, um, it's a beautiful game, sounds good, feels good, doesn't have a whole lot of flaws, doesn't have a whole lot of problems. Like I say, I still, I think for the last 10, 15, 20 minutes, how long it's been now, I've been trying to think of some reason to say this really pisses me off about this game, and I can't. Um, and even like I said, I might think myself, I might be lowballing myself on this, but I'm gonna go with like a 9.3.
Damn. Yeah. No, I mean,
I
can't
mean, there's
argue
a
with that.
flaw. There's a flaw in there somewhere. I just don't know what it is, and I still don't think it's hit perfection. But man, it's really freaking close.
Yeah, I could agree. To add on really to what both you said, yeah, I mean, it's a great game of its time. It came in later for whatever reason. It came in later, like Larry mentioned before. Could have been, you just got your damn video games Nintendo system. I'm not buying you another one. Well, maybe for the better if you got a chance to play this game in the moment, or if you came back to it. I mean, easy enough. I do get the gripe with Aidan saying it's a little more easy than you would like sometimes, but I mean, overall, I can't hate this game. I love it. Soundtrack, art, playthrough, feel of the game, atmosphere. It lands me at a 9.4. I've had that number in my head. 9.4 for me, and this officially has become the highest rated game on the channel so far, averaging out at a 9.1. So it seems like CJ, have picked the best game so far. Can we do better? Not with Aiden's picks, not coming in with Contra or anything
Hey,
like that.
maybe Garfield the cat will do it, or Felix the cat, or whatever the fuck it is.
Hey,
Dumbass
dude,
pick.
all I'm saying is at the end of the season, we might have to give a little wrap up and might have to see who had the highest scores overall on the game. And then, maybe we can dive into looking to give you a little foresight, guys. Maybe we do who was the most critical, who was the most, most giving with their good scores, and who picked the best games according to the VGR metric.
Yeah, I will. Well, stay tuned for that. But I will say, like this game, just to summarize what we all say, it's at the end of Nintendo. It's such a polished game for a Nintendo, especially overall. I mean, it almost felt ahead of its time. Just the way the boards, you have these mini games, the feel of the game, how it played. It was just a great game, and For next week, what do we got, Larry?
Well, we're going to hit the genesis of a whole genre. The beginnings of the stealth genre. The classic Hideo Kojima Metal Gear. Created for the MSX, but we're playing it for the NES. So we just get to mention Hideo Kojima's name because he had nothing to do with this. But we'll talk about more about that next week.
Yeah, no, excited to dive into that. Metal Gear is better than plastic gears and stuff like that, I would say. So hopefully a good experience. Can't be worse than Contra. Might not be as good as Kirby, but we're gonna give it a try. For everybody listening, watching, whatever, one thing you got to do after this episode, you got to give us a like. You gotta tell your friends and family that you met the Kirby. He's on the show. If they want to meet the Kirby, give us a watch. See Kirby playing Kirby, and 2 other people tagging along with them. Give us a share to them. Give us a follow on your favorite podcast listener. Give us a follow on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X. Whatever you want to call it. Go find us, VGR Pod, on YouTube and our other socials. And Larry, shoot us with the email and stuff if anybody wants to get a hold of us.
Well, like I said, we always want to hear from you guys. VGR pod at gmail.com. Do keep an eye out. Check us out on YouTube. We're going to throw in some extra content out there. We want you guys to be part of it. Get social with us. Help us out a little bit, please. Give us likes. Tell people. Comment on a video. Comment on a short. Comment on TikTok. We want to grow. We want to do more for you all. And like I say, check out the YouTube channel. There'll be something popping in there at some point. Maybe a little Contra-y, might be a little more Kirby. Who knows? With whatever we're into that week. But yeah, definitely let us know and reach out to us at vgrpod@gmail.com.
100%. So sounds like next week, next Thursday, we'll meet back and we're gonna get this Metal Gear taken care of. See what it's looking like.
Get your cardboard boxes out, people. We're going to be hiding.
Sounds good. So for now, we'll catch you next week. Reach out to us. Give us your likes, follows, and shares. Until next time, this is CJ signing out. Next to me, Larry.
It's Larry, y'all. Be cool.
Yo, from the building. Peace, guys.
Later.
Have a good night.
Good little ep.
Yeah, I couldn't